Hey everybody, this is Blue, and today I wanted to talk about combat. It is pretty amazing to me that, as I've watched a lot of tabletop role-playing game videos here on YouTube, I see a lot of people complaining about combat. There are a lot of people that say that combat can be long, drawn out, and that there are people that dread going into combat situations. I think a lot of it has to do with D&D's system, because it is very limiting when you say that the dice can do only a D4. This one could do a D6. The Rolemaster system, I think, is much better. Let me see if I can get that table up real quickly. Yep, here we go. So this is a standard table for Rolemaster. You can see that it's got the 20 columns in there. Each one represents an armor type. Armor type 1 is basic clothes, no armor. Whereas armor type 20, that's full plate mail. You got the helm, your vanguards on, and your leg grids. Your body is protected. And so obviously your armor type 20, you're taking less damage compared to your armor type 1. On this table, it tells you a lot about the weapons, like the criticals type. On this one, a cutlass, which is basically what like a pirate would use. That'd be a light one-edged weapon. It does slash criticals. In Rolemaster, you got, for your basic combat, slash, crush, puncture, and some weapons do different types or combination of, and so that's one of the advantages to Rolemaster, because it's not, you did 3 puncture, 4 puncture, 3 puncture. It's not the same thing. I mean, you got variety. And the other thing I love about the Rolemaster system is the variety of weapons. If you have all the charts, you have over 40 different weapons to choose from. So if you want to have anything from the little dagger all the way to a warmatic, pole arms, pole axes, they got the tables for it. It's awesome. Okay? So we'll be getting back to that in just a wee bit. So we're going to learn a little bit about the Rolemaster system, but we're using my rules, because I also have sped up my gaming system with a couple little tweaks here and there. I actually enjoy combat. One of my main differences between my rules and the Rolemaster rules is during character development, I allow my characters to develop 3 skill ranks. Some characters can get up to 3 skill ranks, whereas they always had a limit at 2. And so the more skill ranks you have, the higher your offensive bonus, more damage you can do, quicker battle. Okay? So, and then I should say this real quickly. One of the other things that I do that's different is when I do group combat, when I'm the game master and I have multiple people that are in the party that are role-playing, I give them a 2-minute limit. So we roll for initiative, we figure out who's going to be going in what sequence, and all of a sudden I will be going, and Bill, it's your turn. And I time them. I actually got an hourglass. And I flip it, and once that hourglass is done, if he hasn't given me an answer on what he's going to do with that character, his character was just confused, and all he can do was parry, which means he can defend himself. But he does not do any damage to his opponent during that round. So when combat lasts longer, it's his fault. Okay? So, like I was saying, in character development, start is character development. Some professions you can get up to 3 skill ranks. on each weapon. You develop each weapon separately. You don't have the similar weapons option here with me. There are some people that say all edged weapons are all edged weapons, and that you can have a similar rule. Nope. You have to develop different skills for a dagger, broadsword, short sword, long sword, two-handed sword, whatever it is. You can't just say, well, my long sword is similar to my broadsword, so I'm going to just switch them out. Nope, not allowed. All right, the one thing I like about Rolemaster is in their rules, your first 10 skill ranks are worth 5 points each, which means, it shows that, you are just learning your weapon, you are just learning how to hold it and control it. And so you are learning a lot, and it's going to affect your offensive bonus a lot. And so, all right, that's awesome. So if you have 10 skill ranks, you have your base offensive bonus is 50. Then, as you continue on, your second set of 10 skill ranks are worth 2 points each. Yes, you're still learning quite a bit, but it's not having that much of an effect as like your first 10 skill ranks. So they're only worth 2. And so if you have 20 skill ranks in that skill, you have your base offensive bonus of 70. And then from your 21st skill rank until you hit your limit of 150, they're just worth 1 point each. And so you got the examples below. 14 skill ranks, you have base offensive bonus of 58. If you have 21 skill ranks, your base offensive bonus is 71. And if you have 37, you will have 87. When you hit your maximum at 150, you will have your base of 200 offensive bonus, which is awesome. Next is adding your modifiers. Now, the first thing is your level bonuses. Just like on, getting your skill ranks, you can get up to a +3 level bonus depending on your profession. A warrior who, is going to be predominant in fighting is going to get the +3. A ranger who is still a good fighter, but he has other skills that kind of take away from his fighting time, so he only gets a +2. A rogue is somebody that is not a trained fighter. He's not going to be that good, but because like a rogue could be a thug, they get a +1 bonus. And then you have the rest of your professions, like the scholar, farmer, and all that. They are not trained in any way on combat, so they get no level bonus. And so it's very simple. You take your level times your level bonus, and that's your level modifier. So if you have a level 7 warrior, 7 times 3 is 21. Pretty easy. Other bonuses that we use your stat bonuses. Usually it's either going to be strength or agility bonus. Weapons, your heavy weapons like your mace, warhammer, swords, and that, they depend on your strength because you are taken as trying to hit your opponent as hard as you can, and so your strength modifier bonus is in there. More elegant weapons like your crossbow, longbow, ranged weapons, we use the agility bonus because it needs more finesse. You need to be able to bend properly to get your bow lined up to shoot your opponent. All right. Item bonuses. Now this could be about quality or magical. Somebody could have built you an awesome balanced broadsword, and so it could be like a +10 broadsword just because of the quality and what it's made of, because it could be made out of lane, some magical metal. Okay, and it could have other magical abilities connected to it. Such as it could be a +20 broadsword when fighting giants. So you need to write down, hey, when giants, it gets an extra 20. And it's your job as the player to remember that. and you'll see OB equals offensive bonus. So, knowing that, here's how it works. You take your skill ranks plus your stat bonus plus your level bonus plus your item bonus, and that is going to equal your total offensive bonus. Yes, like I've said in another previous video, if you're going to play Rolemaster, you got to love numbers, and you're going to need a lot of paper. Okay? And so, if you got a level 9 fighter, he will have, if you max it out, 27 skill ranks with a mace. So his skill rank bonus is 77. His strength stat bonus for it, let's say, is 10. His level bonus is 27. And his item bonus, let's say it's a +5 mace. Maybe it's a little extra heavy, so it hits harder. Yeah. And so he would have an offensive bonus of 119, which is pretty dang good, actually, for a level 9. Next up is the Seer. Now, we know the Seer. That is a magic user. He's not going to be a fighter. And he only has 10 skill ranks with his trusty, dependable staff. So he's got the 50 for a skill rank bonus. He has strength of 5, and so he gets to add that on. But he gets no bonuses for level bonuses, and it's just a piece of wood. And so 5 plus 50 is 55, and that is not very good, so he better be staying in the back, be ready to cast a spell. Next thing to do is write everything down. Now, when you're doing combat in the Rolemaster system, there's generally 5 numbers that you got to write down. And I would work with your GM, or if you're the GM, get the column out and put 5 columns with the names in there and write down what each player character's offensive bonus, defensive bonus, armor bonus, initiation bonus, and the hits down, so that when you're figuring everything down, you're just going like this, and you don't have to ask repeatedly what it is. It saves time. Organization saves a lot of time in this game. If you're carrying it, we're having a thunderstorm, and so we're having some nice rain and some nice rumbling. So we have our offensive bonus. Now we got to figure out our defensive bonuses. It's a lot easier. Your defense stat modifier is your average of your quickness and your agility. You are trying to maneuver yourself to evade weapons. Okay, if you see an arrow coming at you, hopefully you're smart. You can move fast enough and bend fast enough where, whew, missed that one. Okay, so you add them up and you just divide it by 2, and I always round up. So if you have an odd number, you just round it up. So like in this case, it would have been 7.5. Yeah, we're going to make it easy. It's an 8. Step 7 is figuring your armor. Now you saw the chart where we had the 12 different types of armor. And so it is based off of whatever you have for your torso, you know, your body here. So if you have a chainmail vest on, or shirt, however you want to call it, and no other armor, you are armor type 13. You are the basis of chainmail. Okay, you can have no armor, which, you know, is basically everyday clothes. I would be right now considered an armor type 1. Soft leather. Now, again, this is very flexible leather, or when you're talking like animal hides, it's like a rabbit hide. One moment. I gotta close the window. There. All right, I'm back. I was actually starting to feel some rain because of the wind. Rigid leather. Now that is like your animals that are outside in the harsh winters, like your yak, your oxen, bear hides and all that. That would be considered rigid leather. Or it could be a reinforced leather. You can have a leather that has something underneath it to make it a little bit stronger. So rigid or reinforced leather is armor types 9 through 12. Chainmail, which is your linked armor. Now, some people will say that it can be a scale armor as well, and I agree with that part. So if you have a rigid leather or soft leather jerkin on, a jacket, whatever, and you have evenly spaced out scales throughout it, which provide additional protection, that would be also considered on the level of chainmail, and that could be from 3 to 16. Now the highest is the plate mail. Now this could be also dragon skin, because dragons are very magical. Their skin, their hide, their scales are going to do extra protection. And so if you have a dragon hide armor on, that would also be considered plate mail. Also depends on your game rules, but that's kind of what I do. Okay, step 8 is working more on your armor. Okay, as I say, you figure out what your armor type is by your chest, what you got on your torso. But every time you add something to it, you increase your armor type by 1. So in this example I talked about, if you have your chest plate and you have leg gates on, you went from a level 17 to a level 18. If you had full plate, which is your chest plate armor, helm, leg gates, and vambraces, you would be armor type 20, because you get +1 for all 3 things that you add to your base. Alright? Now, each additional piece also adds +5 to your armor type bonus. So where you have your base, which it actually doesn't give you anything, but if you have your land braces on, leg gates on, right there is +10 that you get to add to your defensive bonus. Well, your AT bonus, then it goes to your defensive bonus. And so armor type 20 automatically has a +15 armor type bonus. Then you get to add any magical bonuses you want to it. So if you have this armor that is a +10 magical, you take that +10 to your +15, and all of a sudden you got +25 plate armor. So again, some of this is a lot of numbers. Get out some scratch paper if you need it. You can't forget the shields. Now in Rolemaster, we use basically 3 types of shields. The smaller shield is called the target shield. That'll give you a +15. Then, the round shields like the Vikings and the Greeks used, that would be considered a normal shield. That will give you a +20. And then the big shield, like the Romans did, back in the day, that's a wall shield, and that would give you a +30. So step 10 is figuring out your defensive bonus, which is, again, your stat bonus, like we talked about. That is your agility and quickness, plus whatever bonus you get from your armor. So like if you're in full plate, like the example there, that's a +15. And this particular fighter also has a wall shield, so he gets a defensive bonus of 53, and he's at armor type 20. Whereas our scholar, he's in big trouble. He's kind of agile and he's kind of quick, so he's got a stat bonus of 10, but absolutely nothing else, because all he's got on is light cloak to keep the sun out of his eyes. And so if he gets into battle, his defensive bonus is 10, and he's at armor type 1. Next step is figuring initiative. Just one sec. Okay, so we first got to figure out what our stat bonus is. Now this is our quickness and our reasoning. The reason why is because our ability to gain initiative above others is dependent on not only our physical ability, but our mental ability. You have to be smart and move smart to get the advantage on your opponents. Then you roll your d10 and you add the 2. Pretty simple there. And then it would be up to the game master to write down the sequence based from the highest number and working its way down. So you could have like one of my favorite characters, Victor the Ranger. Maybe he rolled a 99, he got lucky, and he had an initiative bonus of 5. So his roll result would be 104, which probably, hopefully, would mean that he's the first one that can act during that round. Okay? And then there will be times, when you go through with dice rolls and you add their bonus there, you're going to get, ties. Just have between whoever's at that number roll and see who will go first. Okay? And then we actually get to the fighting part. Okay, it's super simple. And if it's your turn to fight, you would roll your 2d10. You add your offensive bonus minus your target's defensive bonus. And whatever the result is of that is what you take to your chart. Okay? So, let me see if I can get that back up. Right there it is. All right. So, let's say your opponent is armor type 16. And so we go look up at that. And you had a end result of 102. And so you did 5 points damage. But you didn't get any criticals on that. Okay? And so then you might, on your next turn, when you roll, you might roll, let's go with a 45. And a 45 is a 9E critical. Okay, so you did your 9 points, plus you get to do an E critical. So then you would go to the proper critical chart and you would reference it to see what your extra results were. Okay, so thankfully I get to do this. So we're going to need to pick a number. We're going to go with 87. I like that number. And here we go. We have an 87E, which would be on the far right side there. And meat chopping strike severs foe's leg. Foe drops and collapses in unconsciousness. Foe dies in 9 rounds, plus 15 hits. Okay? That is why I love the Rolemaster system. Yes, a battle could seem like long drawn out, but if you have a couple of good crit rolls, what you thought was going to be a slow battle, all of a sudden, bam, 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 they're dead. On that result there, since he collapses, that target is no longer a threat. You can move on to your next target. Okay? And you will get full credit for delivering that kill. And so, I love it. Yes, this does seem like a long drawn out thing, and in some ways it is, but I believe it would be faster than the D&D system. You need a lot of paper to do this, have a couple calculators, dice. Give everybody a set of dice. All they need is 2d10s, and so then everybody does not have to be grabbing for dice and all that. That will help make combat faster. There are temporary advantages and disadvantages. Because you do damage, sometimes your opponent is stunned. Well, if he is stunned, he loses 10 or 20 on his defensive bonus. So if he had a defensive bonus of 35 and it was a high loss, his defensive bonus is now 15, which means on your next attack you get to do a little bit more damage. Sometimes you can screw up and you might fumble your weapon, and for 5 rounds you are at negative 20. Again, so you'd be taking 20 off of your offensive bonus. So a lot of people are going to say that this is long and drawn out, but there is a touch of realism, and it's fun just to finding out what type of criticals you delivered, which makes it all worthwhile. I would love to hear comments down below. If you have any questions, hey, put those too. And I will talk to everybody later. Please take care. Be at peace.